Okay. All right. As soon as the other stuff is up, which will be shortly, I'm sure. Yep, we officially have that up. And while my computer is running pretty slow, I think everything will show up eventually. Yep, looks like it. I've got the chat up here. And I've got to get this, close that. Excuse me. Comment that on that poll, because Half-Life has won the poll for this week. My encoding is overloaded and I'm not playing the game, but that's because I have Chrome open in the background technically. So that's kind of unsurprising actually, because Chrome is pretty bad. Alright. They don't have... okay. New game. Select difficulty hard. Play have like uplink. I don't know what uplink is. We're not gonna... Oh, I could actually test that out, but we're not gonna bother.
Welcome to the Black Mesa Transit System. This automated train is provided for the security...
Why can't I... Oh!
of the Black Mesa
There was audio. I just...
The time is 8:47 a.m.
Big problem with this...
Topside temperature is...
Well, here. I'm gonna turn up the volume for this opening scene for people who haven't seen it. It's pretty iconic, but this game has no subtitles, which is a big problem, and I think they should fix if they like update it, which I don't think they're going to, but they might. So here, let's turn that up to like this, and then resume game button. Oh, I thought it was saying things. Oh, it'll start again. The, oh.
This train is inbound from Level 3 dormitories to Sector C test labs and control facilities. If your intended destination is a high security area beyond Sector C, you will need to return to the Central Transit Hub in Area 9 and board a high security train. If you have not yet submitted your identity to the retinal clearance system, you must report to Black Mesa personnel for processing before you will be permitted into the high security branch of the transit system. Due to the high toxicity of material routinely handled in the Black Mesa compound,
This stuff's not
no smoking,
that important,
eating, or drinking are permitted within the Black Mesa transit system.
It's cool.
Please keep your limbs inside the train at all times. Do not attempt to open the doors until the train has come to a complete halt at the station platform. In the event of an emergency, passengers are to remain seated and await further instruction. If it is necessary to exit the train, disabled personnel should be evacuated first. Please stay away from electrified rails and proceed to an emergency station until assistance arrives.
Okay. I think I have a little bit of time to talk here before the lady starts up again. This game does a lot of interesting things that were all very interesting in 1998 when this game came out. A lot of the sort of tech stuff here is kind of proof of concept for the next 10 plus years of AAA titles, right?
A reminder that the Black Mesa Hazard Course Decathlon will commence this evening at 1900 hours in the Level 3 facility. The semifinals for high security personnel will be announced in a separate secure access transmission. Remember, more lives than your own may depend on your fitness. Do you have a friend or relative who would make a valuable addition to the Black Mesa team? Immediate openings are available in the areas of materials handling and low clearance security. Please contact Black Mesa personnel for further information. If you have an associate with a background in the areas of theoretical physics, biotechnology, or other high-tech disciplines, please contact our Civilian Recruitment Division. The Black Mesa Research Facility is an equal opportunity employer.
So the big thing here is that
A reminder to
you should
all
show
Black Mesa personnel.
at the beginning of the game.
Regular radiation and biohazard screenings are a requirement of continued employment in the Black Mesa Research Facility. Missing a scheduled urinalysis or radiation checkup is grounds for immediate termination.
There he is. There's the guy.
If you feel you have
well
been
as
exposed to radioactive
the other
or
guy.
other hazardous materials in the course of your duties, contact your radiation safety officer immediately. Work safe. Work smart. Your future depends on it.
The other thing is that words
Now
are
arriving
cheap.
at Sector C test labs and control facilities.
Especially if they're not essential. You can just spit out a bunch of words, which is what the game has just done, in the form
Please
of
stand back
these
from the
announcements.
automated door and wait for the security officer to verify your identity. Before exiting the train, be sure to check your area for personal belongings. Thank you, and have a very safe and
very shaky.
productive
This is
day.
strange.
Morning, Mr. Freeman. Looks like you're running late.
Okay, I'm gonna turn down the audio back to where it was before so that you can hear me over whatever the game is doing. There's no subtitles, which is annoying, but it's preferable. If you really want to know what they're saying, you can play the game by yourself or look it up. It's not that complicated. So there's a bunch of stuff here that'll get used. That'll be like a primary aspect of AAA gaming up till, I mean, really to this day, but it doesn't get as much focus anymore. For example, 10 years later, Half-Life 3 will release, or Fallout 3 will release, and a lot of the stuff in here will just go right into that game the exact same way, right? The sort of like running around. I mean, even the aesthetic here is basically gets pulled into Half-Life 3. And if you think about it, at this point, or into Fallout 3, Fallout 1 is already out, but Fallout 2 is in development. It'll come out a year later, in 1999, I think. Pretty sure. This is the same year that Baldur's Gate, the original one, released.
I had a bunch of messages for you, but we had a system crash about 20 minutes ago, and I'm still trying to find my files. Just one of those days, I guess. They were having some problems down in the test chamber, too, but I think that's all straightened out. They told me to make sure you headed down there as soon as you got into your hazard suit.
Also, this game is very American. It's pretty much impossible to play this game without getting a sense of what's the red book say? Who knows? I also can't hear that, but this whole
You got the wrong airlock, Mr. Freeman. You know I can't let you through here.
the whole like aesthetic here is something that is kind of new, but also kind of been around for a while. Oh, that's the way we came in. This way. Nope, that's gonna go this way. But there's a lot of technical stuff here. So pretty much every thing in the game has kind of a sort of base AI, which is very cool. Let's do.
My God, what are you doing?
And there's a lot of
It's good to see you.
right. That was kind of random. It wasn't
You're supposed to be in the
scripted
test chamber.
like some of the other stuff in the game is.
I can't be bothered right now. You'll just have to wait until after the test.
This is what
Please, leave me alone
one of the
until after the experiment.
first games to have. Well, it's kind of a thing in some of the RPGs, but this is the first game where it doesn't really matter.
You're supposed to be in the test chamber half an hour ago.
Now, you can click a button to talk to people, but it doesn't really matter, and they give you just sort of a random dialogue.
You'll just have to wait until after the test.
Also, another thing here, which isn't obvious, but is really cool,
Bothered right now. Excuse me, Gordon, but I'm rather
it's still kind of, like, relevant and impactful. All the NPCs in the game, their mouths aren't coded for whatever,
leave me alone until after the
aren't coded individually for what they say. They've got a general coding thing that just
experiment right now.
takes the dialogue and makes their mouth move to fit it. Which is really good when you know what all the dialogue is and you don't put in weird sounds that can't be made by mouths.
Gordon Freeman, it's good to see you.
Of course, later, whatever.
Why do we all have to wear these ridiculous ties?
Now, this is semi-scripted, but it's also pretty much the same. See here, that's ours, and we'll get some amount of stuff. But it's not really that essential. Most of these other names, pretty much all, I think all the other names are devs. So if we go through here, you can almost recognize some of them. Greg Coomer is a high, high ranking.
Ties.
Some of these other ones maybe, but you also get the energy thing. Oh, the suit is also telling us stuff,
Wait until after the test.
which is pretty interesting, and they don't do a ton with it. I feel like they could really lean into it and do a bunch of stuff with the fact that the suit talks to you the way that Marvel would do with Iron Man in a while, like 10 years later. But I mean the whole power armor stuff comes from Starship Troopers in the 60s, 70s, 50s maybe, and that stuff also has some amount of suit that talks to you. But in that one, it's more of a radio, which is they also have a lot of there's a lot of stuff in this game that is completely unnecessary. That even 5 years, if you release this game in 1993 or something, would not necessarily be in there, right? And if it would be in there, it would be a lot more snarky, right? This is just kind of flavorful and related to the world building. If you get stuff I don't know, when did the original Duke Nukem came out? A while before this one, and that game has a lot of random extra stuff in it. And I think Wolfenstein and stuff like that too also have some of that. Some of those early first-person shooters. But for the most part, they're kind of like the original Doom doesn't have a ton of random extra stuff because they were, they were trying to fit as many polygons as they could in there. We have a flashlight. We have a bunch of UI things. We can go down the ladder if we want. Which is interesting. I think if we fall down there, we die.
Weren't you supposed to be in the test chamber half an hour ago?
They all yell at you as you go through here because you're late.
Please, leave it alone after the experiment.
Right, like that guy avoided me, and he'll do that again because they've got sort of like basic AI that has them move around, and the sort of idea of just giving all of your NPCs sort of a base level thing is kind of, it's hard to say if it's really, I don't think it wasn't that out of left field, right? Enemies had that all the time.
We just sent the sample down to the test chamber.
We've boosted the anti-mass spectrometer to 105%. Bit of gamble, but we need the extra resolution.
The administrator is very concerned that we get a conclusive analysis of today's sample. I gather they went to some lengths to get it.
They're waiting for you, Gordon, in the test chamber.
But there's a lot of stuff in this game that is just unnecessary, but yet it makes the game better, right? It's the...
It's about to look critical.
You can actually get back there if you no-clip or whatever, which is funny. Because obviously, if you look, you can see there's kind of a space there, which is cool, right? But the enemy AI in this game is actually really advanced if you get into the code. I've looked at some videos which go over it. They kind of, a lot of the aliens have like senses of smell and like stuff like that, and they have certain behaviors that they'll go through.
I'm afraid we'll be deviating a bit from standard analysis procedures today, Gordon.
Yes, but with good reason. This is a rare opportunity for us. This is the purest sample we've seen yet.
And, potentially, the most unstable.
Now, if you follow standard insertion procedures, everything will be fine.
I don't know how you can say that, although I will admit that the possibility of a resonance cascade scenario is extremely unlikely.
Gordon doesn't need to hear all this. He's a highly trained professional. We've assured the administrator that nothing will go wrong.
Ah, yes, you're right. Gordon, we have complete confidence in you.
Well, go ahead. Let's let him now.
This is also one of those games that really didn't have to be kind of showed the strength of the PC market. You gotta kind of understand there's a 5-year period in which the PC market basically took shape because, for the most part, right, in the 80s and early 90s, PCs were expensive and they weren't used. There weren't enough games on them for them really to be used for gaming. There was stuff that you could do with them, but the big sellers were the consoles, mostly the Sega ones or the Oh, they want me to do something. Probably go up here and click a button. That's this game has like kind of fake puzzles in the sense that they're not real puzzles. They're just click buttons, right? I mean, but it's still more in depth than some of the other sort of first-person shooter stuff that goes around, and it's no less complicated than what something like Halo would do a couple of years later, where it's pretty much just shooting. there's no real like, oh, you have abilities or something, and there's some sort of puzzle you have to do. Half-Life 2 would really be the one where there's actual kind of puzzles with physics and stuff like that. But as I was saying about the PC market, right? The big... Oh, ouch. I took some damage there unnecessarily. The big market was the NES. After the video game market crashed, the NES kind of took over, and then the SNES, and I think, was it the Sega one? Whatever the Sega one was at the time. Was it the Genesis? I am not as familiar with Sega consoles. Mostly because the games are the ones that have lasted longer. Okay, everything's gonna go crazy here, which is fun. If we look, they get kind of blown up somewhere. I think there was a thing that, and we get random sparkles and all sorts of cool effects that they've done. Send this over here. These guys, I guess, can't attack us. Nope. There's these guys. Funky. We can walk away from them, which is cool. And we're gonna load into the first actual level of the game. And here we go. There's some dead people around. Can we? Oh, okay. It's gonna open up for us. The market eventually got into 3D stuff with the N64 because Nintendo got there first with that. There's a bunch of dead guys, actually. This is very bad. And that released in 95. And Sega followed up with whatever their 64-bit console was a year or two later, I think. Probably 96 for them. But more importantly, while those consoles were good, the PC market now had access to a whole backlog of arcade and console games that weren't available unless you had the old console. So that means if you were looking to purchase a thing, it became decent to... Oh, these guys... It's crazy. I wonder what these guys are. If you already had... Oh.
Please get to the surface as soon as you can and let someone know we're stranded down here.
Oh, okay.
You'll need me to activate the retinal scanner.
Yeah, he's gonna let us out.
The rest of the science team will gladly help you. With my brains and your
If you already had a computer, you finally had the ability to sort of purchase a whole bunch of old stuff in addition to the new stuff. And of course, you couldn't get the first party titles, right? You wouldn't have Mario on a computer or Sonic or anything like that. But you could get all of those video game companies that had died in the video game crash, all those arcade companies, Midway, all that stuff, could all come out on PC. And some of it did. Oh, ouch. Where's the crowbar? I thought I need to get the crowbar. Oh, you also have some sliding mechanics here, which is very fun. The water just slides you around. There's no, like, interesting whatever. You also have a, classic laser type thing. You know, these lasers will go out and they'll move around. They kind of move almost a little bit randomly, and they have like kind of a set path, but here's the crowbar. Now we can break things. Yeah, that's scripted. There's a whole bunch of deaths that they make you feel bad about, even though they're 100% scripted and you can't do anything about them. Oh, crazy. This game also starts a big zombie sort of thing that will go on for another 20-ish years. Basically, all through up.
Man, am I glad to see you. What the hell are these things? And why are they wearing science team uniforms?
All the way up through the, am I gonna get a gun? I think it's a little farther up here. Oh, that is another thing that's different about this game. It's a first-person shooter where your first weapon is melee. It's kind of counterintuitive, actually. That your first weapon... Oh, it killed me. Would be melee. Oh, I'm playing this on hard mode, so this is going to be pretty hard. What did I... My game is freaking out a little bit. I think I'm accidentally shifting to my other screen. See, if you let him die, you get the gun early. And then when you run in here, you can actually shoot these guys and potentially avoid losing. Oh, but you can't aim with the left mouse button. Alright. Ouch. I'm gonna need to be a little bit cleaner on this one. Alright, we got one. I need to do two. Got the gun, 17. The other thing this game does, which even some games nowadays don't bother with, is trying to make you feel like the game is never loading. Right? There's nothing wrong with sort of having a loading screen or whatever and designing your game with that in mind. But it is cool. Yes, we love this. Great bit. And that one doesn't spit out stuff, but right. The game still loads things as you go through. Oh, that's somebody else. Gives you ammo though. as you go through, it's loading the part you're moving into. And this is a common thing that gets used all the time now, right? Fallen Order does the exact same thing, pretty much. As you move through the game, it loads the part you're moving into. Which I did find out specifically because there's a glitch on the PC version that you can use to fly around the map. And I started doing that just to check out free things, basically. You know, I've already finished that game. Oh, this is the wrong way. But have you ever noticed that it loads for like half a second? That's the result of me moving too quickly, basically, kind of. But also, it's just part of the game, right? Sometimes it stutters when it's loading the next section. Sometimes it just ignores it and kind of keeps going. But like the Fallout games do this, the modern ones. The other thing is that this is probably the first game that really figured out that if you make the targets very small, that's actually pretty interesting in a first-person shooter, sort of conceptually, right? The smaller you make the targets, the harder they are to hit, the more sort of interesting gameplay you can get out of that. Not exactly. It's a bit more complicated than that, you know. It's not just that it's hard. And then this is kind of scripted here. I don't think I can. Oh, I'm getting attacked. Yep, okay. But, you know, it's supposed to be very frightening and all that stuff. You can't turn the light on. This game is actually pretty sort of frightening at times. It's going for the first aid and he died. Oh, ouch. Got hit by something. Oh, here we go. Here's the start of these guys. Who have really, like, actually pretty advanced AI. I don't think they're the most advanced in the game. That goes to the little sniffer guys. Who, run around and, like, smell you and... And if you, like, come into contact with meat or something, you'll get dirty, and that'll make it so that you, you smell, like... Oh, ouch. Yep, a lot of jump... Like, they're very good at doing the sort of, like, quick and dirty jump scare, where, like, you open a door and an enemy attacks you. It'll be... Oh, or like that. I blew up something. And I'm also out of ammo. But you know how it is.
Yes. You've been wounded.
They'll heal you. Using,
Why are you leaving me here? Glad to oblige a fellow scientist.
I think you probably need this guy for something. To take a guess. Yeah, you do. 2. Okay, got him. Yeah. It's actually kind of an interesting mechanic that I expected them to fix at some point. Oh, we get grenades now. Right, you start off with a bunch of stuff that you can't
The containment system is completely...
access. Oh, he's telling us stuff. Is it important? Not really. But we can jump down here and find a place to go. Maybe this way? No, that's the way we came. This way? No, that's kind of the way we already went. Maybe one of these other doors will open. In here, maybe? Oh, you know, maybe... Oh, wait. No, it's definitely this way. Yeah, it's down that way. Oh, there's a... Grenade. Ah, and we have these guys, who are very, actually dangerous in these modes. They have lots of health. They have high... sort of... ranged attacks. And they're pretty smart long term. Like, they don't mess around. When there's two of them or three of them, they'll kind of like, they kind of know what they're doing. It actually is really interesting, like how many enemies in the game are just like have a base kind of like intelligence in their coding to make them do things that basically make sense. So, yeah, click the wheel. Can we go through here? No, we can't. Ah, but here we get one of the first water sections. Where if you run out of water, or run out of, you know, not water, what's the word? If you run out of oxygen, you just start taking damage and eventually die. Oh. But the thing that really shifted everything when it comes to video games in the late 90s, was me dying right now. Oh, I didn't die. Is the release of a certain little console called the PlayStation 1, which was the console that challenged Nintendo's pretty stable 97 the PlayStation released. So like 6 year, right, from the SNES's release, and even before then, you know, the Nintendo really had a pretty no problem kind of corner on the console market. Sure, there was Sega, but if you look at the like sort of figures and stats, and even the right, that's a big chomper. It just kills you. Okay, cool. This game also has auto-saving, just kind of base level, which is very useful. It has auto-saving that's so good, it auto-saved me as soon as I moved a little bit this way, and thus took me back there when I died. Looks like health things only have 30. In the base normal difficulty, they have 50. Here we also have some sort of movement puzzles, which are a lot more frequent in this game. They also exist in the other game. We also see that's kind of down there. In Half-Life 2. but they are pretty much a lot more common in this one. We also get the... Okay, yeah, here we go. We get the first one of these guys. And we get to see him do his thing, right? The game is a lot of showing. We also get this guy who we can't really... Well, you know, we see him around, but we don't actually know what these guys do. Oh, can I get him to eat a grenade? No, that doesn't look like it. But that guy will shoot stuff at me, which is annoying. Interestingly, the ladder mechanics in this game leave a lot to be desired. You kind of stick to ladders. It's not intuitive or super useful. Okay, let's shoot this guy. Yeah, these guys have like a lot of health and they've got pretty decent AI and they shoot long range stuff at you. Of course, you know. Yeah, okay. Can I get him to eat a grenade? Come on. I don't see it. I don't think it's happening. Nope. I ran out of grenades. That was probably a waste, but whatever. I'm not really playing this game to do well, you know. But the PlayStation created a whole new market for games that could eventually kind of end up on... So, yeah, so if you come through here and you go, oh, and then you go here and you get grabbed by this guy. And then lets you go. Oh, of course you can sort of strategically use them to get up if you want, but it's not really that ideal. Especially since this water doesn't actually hurt you. But as you can see, this is kind of a movement puzzle. Oh, how do I get to the other side? Who knows? Who can say? The answer is you go through over here. As with a lot of movement puzzles, the answer is just keep moving around until you find the solution. Nope, there you go. It created a market for a bunch of games that were probably viable to be ported to PlayStation, and a bunch of PC games which were probably viable to be ported to PlayStation, and a bunch of PlayStation games that were probably viable to be ported to PC, because the high-end PCs at the time kind of had similar abilities to the PlayStation. Of course, they were more expensive, but PCs get cheaper all the time. You know, high-end PCs of today, 2 years later, are the mid-level, easy-to-purchase kind of stuff. But it also meant like games like Half-Life could easily be ported to PlayStation and make a good more chunk of money after they had already been on PC. Or they could even be planned for PlayStation and then be released on PC and make a good more chunk of money that way. It meant that a game could now reasonably be made for more than one format. Oh, somebody died. Yeah, so that's showing you that these guys eat people, kind of thing. But we also get this little thing here. We go in, and we get our first bit of music, and our first real use of also the first use of the little cockroach bugs, which kind of have a thing going on gameplay wise. It's kind of hard to tell, but they do something. I just can't really remember what it is. There's kind of like a dirtiness factor going on here. Oh, also the fan will kill you if you're not careful. But, what more is there to say? Yeah, so it meant that certain games like this one were almost really easy to release because you just kind of release the game and then you spend, as long as the game is decently popular, you spend the time to eventually port it to PlayStation and you make money that way because that's already a thing. And then, you know, if you can do it, you port it to like to the N64 or maybe the GameCube, depending on when your game is releasing. Oh, yep, a lot of bugs.
Gordon, if I'd known it was you, I'd have let you in. Everyone's heading for the service. But I think they're crazy not to stay put. Someone is bound to come by and rescue us.
And that kind of like style would continue all the way up until the Wii, right? You had some Call of Duty games that got released on the Wii and stuff like that. And The Blob released on the Wii as well as PC. But for the most part, it kind of shifted back towards games being made for a specific console for a little bit. Because... Mostly because the Wii was really quite unique. The motion control aspect... here we have our first and one of really only one or two physics puzzles here where you have to move things around. We have to use this to get up to a higher area, I believe. Where?
You still say there's nothing to chaos theory?
Maybe where? Oh, maybe it's this one? Oh, yeah, it's just, you just have to walk through the thing. But of course now you can get into all these areas because... Ooh. But of course this is all electrified, so you gotta be careful, blah, 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 blah. Yes, like that kind of like just sort of free jump scare for them. I mean, at this point, you can even see it coming, and it doesn't really matter. It's still freaky because of how they've set up the thing, and as you turn the, well, no, not as you turn the corner, but you know, ouch. This is, I think this is the big one. Is it this one? Yeah, I think it's this one where you gotta, yep, see? Sort of scripted animation here, but then he goes back to his normal animation and breaks something else. And can we actually get in here? Is that, no, we can't. Whatever. Very cool, very interesting. Lots of boxes, lots of bugs. Maybe these boxes will have something in them, but it's unlikely. And we get the shotgun. And of course, there's a doorway over there, so I'm sure we'll get over to that area at some point. But we have the classic boxes might have stuff in them, so break all of them. You know the one. Something attacked me. Oh, it's this guy. Free stuff. But I mean, that's you think about it, the whole like most games end up on either PC or PlayStation, and then get ported to the other one, as pretty much went all the way to today, right? That's still basically how it works. There's a little bit more going on with like. I mean, the big issue is that the PC market is just much, much bigger than the PlayStation market at this point. And that's evidenced by sort of the prices of oh yeah. This is the puzzle. You have to bump this over here, and then bump this there, and then get up here, and then get access to the ladder and jump off. Yeah, it's all very janky. The physics in this one are not as good as the physics in 2, where they went, okay, we're doing a bunch of puzzles here, we gotta make it good. And they did. Half-Life 2 has really, really great physics, which is why they pretty much just reused them for... Oh, something shooting at it. Oh, right, it's turret. Ouch. Ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Ooh, this is not good. I'm kind of stuck here. Yes, I've been killed. Okay. And we are approaching 1 hour, so I'll probably finish it after 1 hour. I don't have a ton to sort of say about this game. It's very good. But of course, if we stay here, we get to see the guy just kind of, and then see us and shoot at us. Because of course. But it will kill very kind of slowly. Kill our enemies for us, eventually. And there's no real reason to buy, the investment for a PC is a lot higher return than the investment for a PlayStation, basically. Because the PC... Ooh, see, if I had a grenade here... Oop, ouch. Oop. Oh boy, oh boy. You can also take these guys kind of with you. If you click on them. Oh boy. These guys are still active. Ouch. They're gonna kill me, aren't they? Probably. High likelihood. There we go. You can turn it off. That shuts it down. I don't remember. I think you still need to grab like a small box from somewhere to get up to that area, which I think does exist somewhere not far away from us. Destroy these crates. I'll get shotgun shells and whatever ammo, and yeah, you can carry this box all the way through, which I might as well do, just kind of for fun. But of course now we also have the alternate console of the Switch, which has lasted for a long time and will still probably be lasting for another 2 or 3 years, selling pretty well as people kind of they still haven't announced anything about the supposed successor, so I don't know for sure about that one, but they're not going to stop making the Switch for at least another 2 or 3 years after that comes out, which means that the Switch will probably take the highest selling video game console title from PlayStation 2, which of course had so many games on it that they made fun of the PS3 when it released. It's a little notebook. Oh boy. People making noises. Which I think I want to mention. Oh, yep. Nothing actually happens to them. It's all implied. But yeah, those guys are pretty much dead. Here we have a highly outdated periodic table of elements. If it's even accurate, which it might not be. And here we see, oh, he killed me in like 2 hits because I'm at pretty low health here. Yeah. Those guys did not live. Yeah, see, there's actually 3 of them there. They basically ambush you here, which is pretty cool. Now, of course, they've set that up, but that doesn't mean it's not cool still. And they have super long range attacks that do a decent amount of damage, and ouch. This guy's always gonna hit me, isn't he? Oh. Yeah, that's one of the problems with this game. You get to low health, and there just isn't much you can do after that. You kind of have to consistently do decent enough to not die to... I mean, I could take this guy with me. That would probably help. See, like, you know. Does chair have a bunch of bullet holes in it? Oh, maybe. Whoa. Ouch. Still tapped me. How perturbing. Ooh. Ow. Like, you kind of have to do better in order to start doing better. it's a bit of a conundrum. This game is pretty punishing, even on the lower difficulties. It's not exactly an easy game, which is kind of to be expected. If this kills me and I end up like all the way back, I am going to be kind of perturbed, but we've hit an hour here, so... Ah! Oh! Yeah, it's going to take me all the way back here. So there is really a, like, pretty heavy... if you're losing, it's going to take a little bit of running through some levels to get back to where you're doing a well. Eat. You can one shot, and so can they. Yippee. Okay. I think I'm going to call it here. I mean, this is a good game. I'll go through all the Half-Life games if you guys keep voting for them. This one's the base one. He shot me. This one's the first one. It's the best one. No. By best one, I mean it's more... it's more based than the two expansions, because they made two kind of expansion games to this one. Blue Shift and Opposing Force, which I will put on the poll next, both of those ones. I will put those ones on before Half-Life 2, because they did come out in 2000 and 2001. And they are a bit more cleaner than this one. It would not be wrong to say that the first Half-Life is running on fumes a bit. There are certain sections which are kind of grindy, and as I mentioned, one of the main challenges in the game is the fact that if you're doing poorly, you need to start doing better, or you will keep doing poorly. You'll end up at a deficit as you go through the game. But it does encourage you to sort of replay, which is cool. But it also means that you may replay the same area a bunch, which is not as cool. But you can always restart the game and fight these random guys that are still over here. Who are good shot that they'll kill me. Oh, well, it activated again. Okay, anyway. That is the end of the stream, I think. I'm going to call it. This is kind of a classic game. And it does still hold up pretty well. If you're okay with a little bit of challenge, and you're not going to, like, get a little peeved that, you know, your shooter is killing you. And, of course, I'm running at the hardest difficulty. So this is not exactly a good example. But, like, as long as you're not the type of person who needs to always win, and can deal with the fact that you may lose in the same area a handful of times before you get through it, that's fine. Kind of a classic. It has held up a lot better than kind of like the old Doom or Wolfenstein, in my opinion. Because a lot of those games are kind of hard to actually play. This one, you know, it changed the game, and it's kind of in the same level as like playing Halo 1 and 2. Like, you can do it. It's older, but they're not bad. They're classics for a reason. They're good, and they're still good, you know. So, yeah. Plus, it's, you know, pretty cheap. It's like $5 whenever it goes on sale, and I think it's only $10 normally, so, you know. But, We only got to a couple of the weapons, but most of them are pretty basic. There's a couple of later ones which are pretty janky, but it's really the expansions that get some of the weird stuff. Opposing Force gets a lot of weird stuff. They put a lot of effort into that one. It's almost kind of like more stuff than the base Half-Life. It's not as long, but it does kind of have more stuff going on, which is interesting. Anyway, that is the end of the stream. Goodbye.